Hello everyone, it's Andrew Knight here from RICS with another one of our interviews with one of our tech partners. I'm really happy today to have Titus Albrecht with me from Realxdata. Just as a bit of an introduction, I've been with RICS for over 10 years now, and I lead the thought leadership for data and tech, and indeed the RICS tech partner discussion. So welcome today, Titus. And I guess perhaps the most obvious question is a bit of background on who you are. Let us know who you are and a bit of background.
Perfect, Andrew. First of all, thank you very much for introducing and having me online today. Maybe just in a very short sentence. My name is Titus. I'm one of the co-founders of Realxdata, a technology company based in Berlin. I'm always trying not to say prop tech because it's on prop tech. There's so much things on. So we are always saying we're a technology company. We were founded around 5 years ago, and really founded Realxdata out of our daily pain within the real estate industry.
Well, I must admit, you get my vote on that, avoiding the term prop tech, perhaps, because I think particularly from our perspective at RICS, data and technology in real estate is such a broad area that almost by narrowing it within that prop tech phrase, we miss out on a lot of the topics around construction technology and planning and other areas. So I think it's useful to talk about data and technology and its impact rather than perhaps the word prop tech. Well, that's great. So on that basis, I'm curious to know, why did you establish yet another startup for real estate? What was the driver for you, Titus?
So actually, I was coming to the real estate industry pretty early. I needed to clean up all the sellers for my father back in the days, and made some euros, even then D-Marks, Deutsche Marks in high school. That's how I dropped into real estate, and then somehow I established a passion regarding real estate, and decided to study real estate, and started my first job in 2011, so 10 years ago, at EY Real Estate Restructuring and advisory on real estate transactions. And we Germans like to study a lot, right? So because life is long, and then you can study quite some time. And I had so much energy, really, starting into the real estate industry. And I thought, all right, now I'm going to do deals, and at the beginning, I think everyone is a little bit naive once you come into professional life. And then I realized, oh my God, I only have to crunch Excel. And the second part of the day, I have to do research. And this was actually something I could have done even before my studies, right? So I was like a little bit disappointed. And after a while, after a couple of years, of course, my position changed. I went to Union Investment, one of the biggest funds within Germany, and I did transaction and a lot of things, and my work didn't really change. Even like in all other industries, I saw like really changing of industry, friends of mine working in a more digital way, and I was still struggling with the things I did almost then like 10 years ago. And this is something we really wanted to change with Realxdata, and I think we're on a good way, but it's a tough way.
So you've obviously alluded there to perhaps a challenge or a number of challenges in the real estate industry. But if you expand on that, what in your opinion is the biggest challenge or challenges that the industry faces at the moment?
I mean, there are quite some, right? And I think in every industry we have challenges we are facing. I mean, for importance, of course, there are more important things like ESG and other things. But I think one really important thing is that we have a common database, and this didn't really change since the day I was starting, and even before that was the same. And right now it's still the same in most of the companies. And it's not only a German problem, it's a European, even worldwide problem, that in the real estate industry, if we talk about properties, specifically about properties, all data is not standardized, it's just not like, it's not able to work with that data. And this is something we're really trying to tackle with Realxdata to build a common ground for all companies to really work with data.
Yes, I mean, I think it's an oft repeated piece, but the industry itself is so fragmented, and that seems to then reflect the way data is managed and collected and curated. So I think it's to some extent a reflection of perhaps of that fragmentation. So you mentioned that clearly does kind of connect to what you do at Realxdata. what are the kind of things you're doing at Realxdata that are linked so much to that challenge about getting common data standards and common data models?
Yeah, I mean, maybe one further point. Of course, the real estate industry takes pretty long to adapt, right? And this is sometimes after 5 years doing Realxdata, it's not getting sick, but sometimes I feel people are sick of listening to that or about like standardization of data, because they like, or the industry thinks we're talking that long about that topic. Come on, we have to move on. But the problem is not much is changing, right? And I think this is the adoption within the industry really takes quite some time. And I think this is also because the real estate industry was doing very, very good, especially in Germany within the last 7, 8, 9 years. And you know, you do not really change if everything is fine. And if you look, for example, in the insurance or the banking environment, they had to change because the pressure on margin and profits were so high that they said, all right, we really need to move on. And I think this is still something within the real estate with what makes it a little bit harder. And we'll see a little change due to COVID, and we all know the discussions about offices, about retail. So I think there's something is changing. But you asked us or asked me what we're actually doing at Realxdata. So it's actually quite boring, but sometimes that's good.
That's good.
So it doesn't matter if you do a transaction, if you do financing, or if you do valuation. At the beginning, you always receive a rent roll, right? Which shows somehow the tenant, the terms in an Excel or a PDF file. And it gives you the opportunity to really understand the property. But the issue is, again, this CSV or Excel or PDF file is always structured in a different way, and there are always analysts structuring these PDF Excel files to be able to work with it. And this is what we're actually doing at Realxdata. We help our clients and the industry to, in the first place, to really structure these rent rolls and to be able to access and to work with that data.
Well, it sounds simple, but I presume it's a little bit more complicated than just the boring piece you allude to. So
it is. I mean, it is, and it's not, right? I mean, to be honest, I think this is also something why we are trying not to push ourselves too much into the prop tech area. There's so much, but one big thing about technology is, and that's a problem in itself, that it promised always huge solutions, right? And people think, we can do that, and this is the solution, or valuation, it's going to happen automatically. No, it's not. And in the beginning, I mean, it's always very important to really understand and to understand also the technology, not by the code of obvious, but really to understand, okay, how is this actually working, right? And I'm in the next session, I'm also going to talk a little bit about that. But this is something, and maybe to add another thing, and this is specifically for Germany. In Germany, they actually know we don't have any market data. In the UK and the US and the Scandinavian, it's very, very different. And because you have databases, there are laws which make you to really be transparent. In Germany, it's not. And our customers actually, they connect all kind of data or all kind of rental data with our platform, even if it's not their asset, or even if they didn't like bought it over the deal, they keep it in their database, and by that they really build up their own in-house comparable database, and they can really learn out of the data and understand out of the data how the market is developing. And this is also something where I think we really give our clients an advantage. This is somehow the connection between own data and market data, and this is pretty unique to really bring it together.
Just to wind back slightly, Titus, you mentioned the kind of that sense that a market or a sector perhaps only changes when it's under a degree of pressure, and clearly, you know, COVID is an ever-present factor in terms of the way real estate is going to change in terms of office and retail, as you mentioned. And I think also, certainly from the UK market, when I talk to a lot of people, ESG as a driver from the capital markets is clearly have a big effect on the way people are looking at assets. Do you get a sense, perhaps in the European market, that there is this degree of pressure now that's beginning to perhaps change behaviors about the way people think about data and thus the kind of things you do?
Yeah, I really do think so, because what we've seen, and sometimes it's also about different things. We have a pretty big customer. It's a big bank, and at the beginning in COVID, they were working from home, and they actually had the issue that they couldn't communicate to each other, right? And then they understood, all right, we need tools, we need platforms to be able to work remotely, and this, I think, really changed something in the whole thinking. And that's the same for big transaction teams we are working with. They were at home, and then they were realizing, oh, we're getting so frustrated because we actually do not know about what deal we are talking to, about what rent roll, and there are also other services, of course. But our platform really helps them to understand, all right, where's the deal? What's the deal? We can share the deal over the platform. We can talk about numbers, and not everyone has his own Excel file. So this, I think this really helps. And also the change of minds during that session at staying at home really helped on that. And another one is, as you just mentioned, the ESG thing also came pretty obvious, and I'm pretty thankful that it came that hard to the market, right? Because what you said, first, funds are now regulated, and they need to look for certain KPIs. And this also means, again, to really change behavior. And I think by changing behavior, we can make everyone accepting technology a little bit more as a help and not as threat, right? In Europe, there are like a lot of summaries where people really see technology and digitalization as a threat, and in Asia, it's really seen as like a chance, right? Because a lot of jobs came out of these technologies and digitalization, and in Europe, it's a little bit slightly different.
Yeah, no, I think the irony almost is that in many ways the biggest barriers are behavioural rather than technical. We probably have all the technology we need, but it's the behaviours and the incentives in markets which are probably the biggest barriers, I guess, to adoption in many respects.
Yeah, I mean, you say it, and it's nothing about age. Sometimes we come to customers, and I'm very happy to see, oh, now I can pitch it, and I'm going to win this customer. And he's coming from university, and he's like, no, he's blocking. It's not about our technology. It's about being open-minded, right, to technology. And then I'm like, oh my God, you're so young. How can you? I mean, take a look at it. Not even at us, because I know if you react like this to a solution, with us, you also, you have the same reaction to many other things which could help you. And it's really about a mindset. It's being open-minded. And what you say, there's also like some things not really working with technology, and that's technology, because it's such a big topic. Often people just say, yeah, it's technology, it's AI, it's machine learning, and the hope the other one is afraid of asking, actually, what does it mean? But best is, and that's what I'm always telling everyone, really ask them, what does it mean? Not the code again. The code, I cannot read the code by myself, but it's logical. It needs to be logical, and we need to understand. And if there's no databases, there cannot be an automated valuation model telling you each value of each property. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, we go back to the data. Well, I know we're going to have a chance to look at the your platform the next time we actually chat, Titus. But just to finish off, and this is probably a really unfair question, but is it possible in a single word to describe Realxdata? How would you try and, in as few words as possible, what is Realxdata?
I have one word, but this just came up. So actually, I would call it agile. And by saying agile, I mean it's what you say. Looking at customers looking at us, right? Because we need to provide solutions to our customers. Even if we would have the perfect product or solution, the customer wouldn't need it. We wouldn't be successful. So I think one very important thing is also for technology companies, for every company, and I think also for us as human beings, to be agile, to really see, all right, what's the need right now? Maybe our solution is the wrong one for the next 4 years. Then we need to be really agile to accept that, to see that, to change in a way to deliver this now what you need, and maybe then in 4 years the solution we have seen. So I think there are also a lot of other words.
No, I understand. I suppose what one could also summarize that as being about supplying solutions that actually match the problems that customers have, because there's a danger that you build things because you can, rather than, well, actually, what does the sector need? What do your customers need? So, well, it's been great to chat as always, Titus, and I look forward to chatting at our next session. So great to talk, and talk to you again.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Ciao.
Cheers. Bye.